Live at World of Wellness. It's the Wellness Weekend and also the Jamie and Joe Show Live. I'm your host, Jamie Dorley, with the co-host, the one and only, the Godfather of Nutrition, Joe Messino.
And we're back, folks, and we are still the longest running episodic duo healthy talk show on the air anywhere.
And multiple time winner of
most entertaining. I think we just proved that, right?
We're most entertaining, of course. Joe is warming up the crowd with some singing and dancing. So can't wait to see the video on that one. So we're live at World of Wellness. This is the Wellness Weekend. As the business evolves and the world evolves, we evolve, right?
We sure did. New concept for the Wellness Center here. And it's kicking off great the last 2 days.
Yeah, so many familiar faces. Hi, everyone. Welcome back. And so many new faces this week. And we're excited to bring the community together as we're on this mission. What is our mission?
Make the world healthy, one person at a time, until we reach about 1 million.
Yeah, well, that's a very small amount out of 8 billion, but we'll take it.
We'll take it.
And we're right here live in Pittsburgh, PA. If you can make it in, what time we're here till today?
We're here till 4 o'clock today, folks. Come on
Joe's
down.
Here
Lots
till
of time.
3. We're here till 4, right? So, hey, work your
You
butt off
got to
this week.
always leave them wanting a little bit more.
So we're here live. We're at 2419 Baldwick Road, right in the heart of Pittsburgh, PA. Really easily accessible, of course, from any of the highways. And when you get here, free parking.
Free parking, front, back further, all kinds of free parking. You know what? It's a lot easier these days on a Saturday to get here. Now, this is the great day to be here. Come on down. And even the weather's cooperating a little bit. What do you guys think about this weather? February, was the groundhog right?
Oh,
He
yeah.
was right. This is awesome.
Beautiful here in Pittsburgh, PA. And if you can't make it in, you can call the office. What's the number, Joe?
412-922-9355.
That's it, 412-922-WELL. You can call the office and take advantage of all the different formulations on sale this week. And we're going to extend it, of course, throughout the month this year. We're going to try something different. A lot of people have been traveling and people working a lot these days. So we want to make it very accommodating. Plus, you can go to the website, wowpgh.com. That's wowpgh.com. And you take advantage of all the different formulations on the website. So what we want to do is a wrap-up show here, Joe. Wrap up the weekend.
Yeah.
I can't believe it went so quick. And really like to highlight some speakers, starting with the future.
Yes.
Our resident sports medicine chiropractic physician, Dr. Phil Ross. He is TPI certified for Titleist Performance Institute, which means, Joe, he can improve your golf score without cheating.
Without cheating?
Without cheating.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So he's going to help keep those hips stable, lower back nice and loose, and really help people with any activity, game, or sport they're playing.
Oh, yeah. It doesn't have to be golf.
No,
he's got boxers, he's got wrestlers, he's got football players, basketball players, all kinds of athletes.
And he's approved to work with pro athletes.
Mm-hmm.
He's also works with a lot of amateur athletes, boys, girls, any types of sports, boxers we have, basketball players, lacrosse, soccer, football, wrestlers. I think a couple of wrestlers are coming in from Pitt.
Yeah.
Got some nationally ranked wrestlers, some
world
champion
boxers.
We got everyone coming in here. And future national champion, my daughter, lacrosse player.
Right.
So she committed to school. So she's been working with Dr.
she got a
Phil.
scholarship for lacrosse.
And academic scholarship.
And who kept her healthy throughout all this? Dr.
Oh,
Phil? Well, you,
yeah, of course.
Dr. Ross.
Dr. Phil, yeah. Takes after her mom. She's very smart and beautiful. So, but he works. The reason I'm bringing up my daughter is that he works with kids.
Yeah.
It's very safe and effective. Seniors, people with accidents, injuries, or people just like us that want to keep ourselves in shape. Your body is like your car. You got to rotate the tires. You got to get the oil change. What's the old saying? You pay me now,
pay me later. It's going to be more.
I love when Dr. Phil works on you because it's never the same. It's kind of like Dr. O, right?
Yeah.
And it's always customized to meet your needs, and that could change day to day, week to week, and year to year.
Mm-hmm.
So getting that chiropractic work, even once a month, I think is the minimum I like to see people get. And that way we keep you healthy. Rather than waiting for disease care.
Yeah, and there's all kinds of degrees of everything out there, right? I mean, you can go to a chiropractic office and get your 1, 2, 3, 10, 15 minute, maybe 5-minute adjustment. And it's like cookie cutter, right? That's that phrase. We use it a lot, but not here. They're going to spend time with you, a half an hour minimum, and talk to you, ask you what's going on. What can I help you with? and they tailor the session to that.
Oh, and the great thing about the doctors here is that just based on your gait, right?
Yeah.
You go in the office and say, "Oh, Joe's your hip hurting." Well, how'd you know? I can tell by the way
The way
you're
you walk.
walking.
Yeah.
They'll look at your legs, right? Put you down and measure the legs. One maybe a little longer because the hips are out of movement, right? So they need to be adjusted back in. So let's talk about some of the protocols that Dr. O, Dr. Phil, the chiropractors, not only here at the World of Wellness, but all the offices that we're in around the country, Nutritional Frontiers. So one of the formulas, one of my favorites, is one Dr. Weiner came up with before Nutritional Frontiers. For people that are around that long,
Yeah.
it used to be in a black and yellow label, and it was called. Some people called it HA plus at the beginning. Yeah, so he put the dots after HA plus, which stands for hyaluronic acid plus. But Doc knew early on that you need the right amounts of the ingredients, but the right forms, and then nothing of the bad things. So we use these PRTs. What does that stand for?
Stands for patented research trademarked ingredient.
And that's really important,
right? That's so important, because these are companies that take a natural ingredient, study it, and then take the results from the study and publish those results. That's when you know somebody will stand behind what they're doing.
Well, let's talk about one of the studies, right off the cuff, right? So the HA Plus has something called BioCell in it. You're familiar with that? That's a little logo on the bottle. It's like a blue capsule, and it says BioCell. So BioCell studies go back to 2004. And hyaluronic acid traditionally has always been very hard to absorb orally. So what was the options before?
Injectables before.
Yeah, injectables and creams, and they were expensive and painful, especially the injectables, right? But they worked well. So the problem was the molecular weight. So what BioCell actually did through a patented technology is reduce the molecular weight down to 1/600th, right?
Yeah.
So incredible reduction of molecular weight. And they want to see two things with the published study. And one was, can it actually get in the blood? And it did in 4 hours. And it really peaked at about 12. So we know it's getting through the gut and in the blood. Now, the second part is more important. Where do we want to get it?
We want to get it where it needs it, and that's in the joint.
Yeah, joint and skin, right?
Well, sure.
So they found, good.
Yeah, I mean, you see a lot of things on TV for hyaluronic acid in your skin, right? And it's all topical. Well, is that getting into the cellular level? Probably not.
Is that one of your secrets with that Messino skin? This guy using cosmeceuticals on us? Is that what's going on?
No, a little olive oil, a little coconut oil, that's all.
Okay. Yeah. Well, the reason the BioCell works so well is it gets into the bloodstream. Then they looked at the steady state joint stability. So they looked at, does it get into the joint?
Right.
And more importantly, how long does it last there? And it lasted over 28 days. So has anyone here used HA Plus before? Oh, quite a few people. So you find is if you use it long enough and a high enough dosage, it will build up. The only time it wouldn't work is if someone didn't use it long enough.
That's right.
And our landmark case study at the for Nutritional Frontiers was Dr. Ray Vactor.
Oh,
He's a golfer. He tore his meniscus. He went in for surgery, and they says, "Look, you're gonna need to take a week off." He says, "Well, I'm a single business owner. I'm a sole practitioner." He said, "I'll do it over the holidays." And this is like late spring. They said, "You can go that long. It's okay. It's not going to get worse." So he called us. We put him on HA Plus, and what happened, Joe?
Oh, I think after a couple of weeks, he called and he said, "This isn't working."
Oh, yeah,
right.
After 2 days,
this isn't working. Give it time, Doc. Give it time.
Second month, he called. Same thing.
Yeah.
You sure this works? I said, "Yes, Doc." And then after 3 months, he called and said, "Can this be working?" I said, "If you're telling me it's working, it is, because it'll actually rebuild the cartilage. That's the connective tissue at the end of the bone. It acts as a shock absorber, right?"
Correct. Absolutely.
So you notice that when you're going up and down stairs, or you're running, or you're walking, more activity where you're taking that pounding, right? So how much do we need to build it up before you have a reduction in pain? We don't know.
No, everybody's different.
That's why I recommend 8 a day for the first bottle. Go 6 a day on the second, and see what you're doing. Ultimately, I'd like to get you down to 2 a day.
Right. And it's like, that is so important, because excuse me, with functional protocols like this, with drugs, what happens? You take a drug over time, you need more and more and more, because your body becomes, doesn't work anymore. With nutrition, just like Jamie said, you take a high amount at first, and over time you need less, because it's increasing the body's natural functionality.
Yeah, once we build it up, you don't need as much to maintain it, right? If you're filling in a hole in your yard, you may need a dump truck
Right.
initially, and then you can put a little bit more in there to fill it up. Same with your cartilage. If you have advanced joint degeneration, and they said bone on bone, which is partially true, if it was fully, you wouldn't be able to stand, let alone walk.
No.
Well, they're telling you have advanced degeneration. The cartilage is broken down now to where they can see the bone through it. So it's going to take a little bit longer. What about for a hip?
Right? Oh, yeah.
The larger the joint,
the longer it's going to take. The more you're going to have to build that substance up because it's a larger surface area. It's going to require more.
So for sports performance, for functionality, right? Joint, that could be shoulders, knees, hips, back, ankles, wrists. It doesn't matter. Neck. We recommend HA Plus to rebuild. What about, and this is stuff that Dr. Phil was talking about, what about for range of motion? Do you like the green lip muscle?
Ooh, yeah. The green lip muscle is excellent, especially in the upper body for shoulders and arms. It just seems to work so much faster. It's so much more thorough.
Yeah. So we had a client come in, and actually we have the video of Dr. Brenda Montrella's husband. She's a naturopath, and she was at our event last year, a Christmas party. And I said, she goes, I am so happy. My husband and I love the dance. He hurt his knee dancing with her. And I think he's about 70, 60 something. And she says, since then we couldn't dance. She goes, but I go, wait a minute. I saw him look like Fred Astaire all night over here. He won the dance contest. I says, well, what did he do? And she said she was green lip muscle with him for 2 months, Joe.
2 months.
And you saw him dancing down there?
Yeah, sure did.
You were learning some moves off of him.
I'll learn from everybody. Yeah, I always steal from the best.
So just something as simple as a green lip muscle could help range of motion and pain. HA Plus to rebuild the cartilage. What about something to cool down? What does Dr. Phil like to recommend to cool down the inflammation?
Oh, he loves X-Flame because there's nothing better for inflammation, especially centralized, or localized inflammation on an injury or some kind of sports injury, because it has multiple mechanisms of action, James. It's not just one thing. It has a patented, research, trademarked ingredient. It has herbal ingredients. It has antioxidants and enzymes. So this is something that attacks the problem from multiple angles to give you the best possible result.
Yeah, and the great thing, the DMG has a U.S. patent for modulating the immune system and treatment of inflammatory disease, autoimmune, RA. And oftentimes people go to the doctor and are diagnosed with an autoimmune, and they tell them, look, this is genetic. And there's no cure.
Nothing you can do about it.
So they start them out with NSAIDs.
Yeah.
And then when it gets worse, which it will, they'll add anything like methotrexate, sulfasalazine, which are really dangerous medications with high risk factors.
Very much.
So they'll get to them later. Folks, you need a different strategy, right?
Oh, yeah.
Look,
like you always say, you can always go there later, but do this first. Give this natural method a chance first.
Yeah, we always say everyone has their, their genius, their role, right? Medical doctors are great for acute injuries, acute care. You don't want to go anywhere else. The doctors in the U.S. are some of the best in the world. God forbid you're in an accident or a trauma, heart attack, stroke. You need to get stabilized. And the only place you can do that is in the hospital, right, with some good medical care. However, 80% of all visits are for what?
For long-term, not acute, but systemic illness.
Yeah, you look at chronic care. So the system is a little, dysfunctional at this point because they're treating chronic care acutely with medications. It doesn't always work. We're going to go to the underlying causes. So the reason I'm going into that is because the biggest underlying cause of joint health could be weight.
Yeah.
Right? And pro-inflammatory foods.
Sure.
So that's where Dr. Phil is using the nutrients like HA Plus. He is using the nutrients like green lip muscle. But how important is the anti-inflammatory diet, Joe?
Well, it's extremely important because everything starts with what you put in your mouth. Everything starts in the gut. So you can't keep putting all the bad stuff in and just say, I'll just take a pill to help it. Yeah, it doesn't work that way.
When I say pro-inflammatory foods, think about commercial meat or chicken, right? Look at things like dairy products. Dairy actually have building blocks for inflammation you're ingesting.
That's right.
Just saw an article from Dr. Bob Rakowski. The antibiotics in food make the animals fatter and larger. And what about people?
The people that eat them will get the same result.
Yeah. And Dr. Warner used to always cite, look at Europe, right? They don't use these hormones. They don't use these chemicals. People there are in much better shape than
Oh
they are in
yeah.
the U.S.
Yeah, even their vegetables, even their wheat. We talk about this all the time. Their wheat is not toxic. People with celiac have been able to go to Europe and Italy and eat pasta and bread. How is that possible? So you have to go back to the source, and that's the crops in this
So if
country.
you're struggling with joint issues, you should schedule an appointment with Dr. Phil Ross right here. Great thing is that he customized the program for you. He uses very unique modalities like the Class 4 laser. He used the massage gun, which I love. He uses things like trigger point, myofascial release. His stretching's fantastic.
He did some dry needling on me once.
Oh, he did.
Yeah,
He
that
broke
was
it
a lot
out.
of fun. Yeah.
So these are all things that can help with your function and structure. You don't need to be an athlete. It could be anybody. If you know that your knees are hurting or hips or back or shoulders or neck, you go see him. My neck's like 95%. I couldn't rotate like that before. So, some stress, some injuries, some too many plane rides, right?
Yeah.
Too many hotels.
Hotels with bad pillows.
Yeah.
We got great pillows back here, folks.
Your favorites,
My
huh?
favorite. Love it.
So
take it with
Dr.
me.
Phil's protocol for not only golfers, but anybody is going to be HA plus, X Flame. And then what about the SPMs? I hear about them, but what about them?
Yeah, SPMs they're called specialized pro-resolving mediators. Now, what that basically means is when you have an inflammation in the body that's long-term, so it would be what we would call systemic, right? It would be something that is throughout your body probably. And people suffering from chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, all of these long-term disease states, well, it's the basis of that is a systemic inflammatory condition. SPMs can resolve that condition, resolve the inflammation that went unchecked for probably years. And that's why they're called resolving mediators. So they can work where other methods will not.
Yeah, so they took a deep concentration of the omegas.
Yeah.
Right? So you have the oil, you have EPA and DHA, then you have SPMs. And we extracted concentrations. It's a very comprehensive and sophisticated process. We had to go all the way to Germany and use a German pharmaceutical facility and supercritical CO2 extraction. So what is that, Joe?
Well, that means they use no chemicals, no solvents. They just use a gas. It's the cleanest method there is to extract the nutrients without adding any chemicals.
Yeah, it's a high pressure, right? Yeah. CO2 extraction rather than using any harsh chemicals like ethanol, right?
Right.
So SPM is great for cooling inflammation throughout the body. The other thing it does is it accelerates healing.
Yeah.
So we've had people from COVID, people with autoimmune conditions, people with chronic inflammation, people with chronic immune dysfunction. And it not only cools down that deep inflammation, but accelerates healing.
Yeah, because when you take away the inflammatory process, the body can naturally start healing itself.
Well, thanks to Dr. Phil. He did an incredible job on his presentation. He's helping so many people. He is available. There's a few more time slots available. So if you want to call and make an appointment, 412-922-WELL, 412-922-9355. And then up next, we had, the gut guy.
The gut guy.
Dr. Len Bransford. Everyone remembers Len and Joe, right? On the radio and Sirius Satellite for years. They were both two holistic pharmacists out of Pittsburgh area.
Right.
And now Dr. Len, he's retired?
No.
Oh.
He tried.
He tried.
Every time he tries, we pull him back in.
He can't go, right? Where's he going to go? So he did a great job on gut health. So what's the cornerstone of the gut program?
The cornerstone by far, and Dr. Len will tell you this all day long, is a formulation called GI Complete. Nothing heals the mucosal of the gut better than GI Complete. He uses it as a foundation formula for every single patient he sees, regardless of their issue.
Yeah, let's think about why. You have this elongated tube from our mouth all the way through the colon. That's really the outside world going through our body.
Sure.
It doesn't get quote unquote inside your body until it passes through the small intestine and gets in the bloodstream, and then that will transport it to all your organs, where it'll get in the cells and do something. Right. So the intestinal tract is like grandma's screen door, right? It's supposed to allow the air in but keep the bugs out.
Yeah.
And then when Gary pushes through the screen door and it rips, what happened?
They all got in. All those bugs got in. And guess what got out? If there was any good air in the house, that escaped.
Cool air went out. Yeah. So what happens when you have things like dysbiosis, leaky gut, right? Candida infections. What happens is that intestinal tract has been broken down more.
Right.
The permeability is increased. So things that would normally be digested and excreted out of the body are now leaked into the bloodstream. And then the immune system says, oh, we have a foreign invader. We need to turn on and deactivate this.
That's right.
That could be something as simple as a milk protein you couldn't digest. Right.
Yeah. And your body then goes into overdrive, trying to get rid of all these things. And so your body's, it's a magnificent machine, but it can't do multiple things well. So trying to get rid of all this means it's not going to digest the nutrients.
It's just too much coming in, right? It's like the old I Love Lucy show when Lucy wanted to get a job, and where'd she work? The chocolate factory.
Chocolate factory.
And she could handle inspecting one at a time, but when the really mean boss turned up the machine, she couldn't keep up. And that's us, right? Toxicity, right? Nutritional deficiencies, stress, and genetic predispositions have become a perfect storm for what we're dealing with in this day and age, right? So the GI is really probably the most important program you can do. We always recommend a cleanse in the GI. That way you can get ready to lose weight or help with joint health, right? So GI is really the cornerstone. The old naturopaths would say, health, wealth, and death begins in the colon.
That's right.
So why is this such a problem? Well, the overconsumption of antibiotics, even if you don't take them as a prescription, you're getting from the food.
Yeah, you are. If you're not eating a 100% organic diet,
nobody is. Very rarely.
Yeah. So you're going to get them somewhere. They're finding antibiotics in the water now.
Oh yeah.
So, it's hard to get away from it. So you have to take the steps to reverse what's going on.
Yeah. And the antibiotics, they're miracle workers. Even doc used to recommend them, right? If you have a bacterial infection, you better get on antibiotics. However, each time you do, the bugs that survive mutate and they grow back stronger, right? And then if you're on multiple rounds of antibiotics, you have some of these what they call antibiotic resistant bacteria, right? So you think like H. pylori, right? C. diff, those type of things. They're very, very stubborn. So you may need to bring in something like the IgG. This is a stealth bomber that we would add to the GI Complete. We actually use a PRT called what?
Immunolin? Oh, Immunolin. Yes, Immunolin. So it was an ingredient of the year 2 years ago.
Yep. It won ingredient of the year. We're right there with them when they won it. We work with them to create the world's first flavored powder IgG.
That's right.
And the reason we did that was that we want to help bind, neutralize, and remove out of the body any stubborn bacteria.
Right.
There's over 45 published studies on some really challenging things like C. diff, right? Crohn's, colitis, diverticulitis. The list goes on and on and on. But the new ones are on mycotoxins. That was fascinating. Molds, right? We have some people here that experience mold toxicity. Not a fun thing.
No.
And can last a long time and can be very detrimental to your health and your life. So the IgG is actually a prescription medication at 5 grams or more. We use 1 gram servings. It's used by a lot of gastroenterologists. And it's very therapeutic. The best thing to me is that it works immediately. So even if you didn't have any GI issues, if you took the IG for 2 or 3 days, you can tell a difference in your bowels and bloating, everything. Even if you feel healthy now. What about someone who doesn't feel very healthy?
Well, then they're going to see a dramatic effect. And especially if you combine it with GI Complete. And that's why we flavored it so that it would match the flavors of GI Complete.
Oh, that's pretty smart.
Wasn't that smart, huh?
What kind of flavors did you come out with?
So we have a berry and we have a lemon lime. They're both delicious, but they match completely. So you can take a scoop of GI Complete and a scoop of IgG, and now you've got a protocol.
Do you like the lemon lime margarita or the strawberry
daiquiri? Yeah, I like them both.
Oh, yeah. Both of them are good. So mix as well. You could also put them in the base of the super shake.
Yeah.
That where you're getting your protein. That's what Dr. Len does. He builds the program based on what you need, and then you can remove things that are not more long-term.
Right.
That's when you do the program the right way. And then, of course, probiotic and enzymes. So what's Dr. Len's favorite probiotic and enzyme?
Well, he's
all of them?
All of them. But you know what? He's a believer and a lover of Probzyme, just like we are.
So that's double header. You got the probiotic and
digestive enzymes all in one delicious chewable tablet.
Tell us about some of the unique enzymes in Probzyme because we updated that last year.
Yeah, we did. We have a product a specialist named Zach Dorley who
Oh.
improves these.
He has the same last
These
name
as
me,
you, yeah. How about that? And he proves these formulations on a regular basis. So Probezyme was the very first Nutritional Frontiers product 16 years ago. And now we revised it and Zach added an enzyme called Optizyome. Now, you probably never heard of it, but I know you have heard of gluten sensitivity, right? Well, this enzyme specifically targets that and helps people better process gluten.
Yeah, and if you say, well, I don't eat gluten, well, if you go out to eat ever,
Yeah.
you will come into contact with gluten, or you go to a relative's house, you're going to eat some type of gluten somewhere.
Sure.
So be as strict as you can, but that will help, especially if you're eating more rich foods, right? So you go to a party, you go to a barbecue, take 2 of those before you eat would make a tremendous difference, especially if you don't eat those foods all the time.
Oh yeah. It's something that you can use. So it's so versatile. Use it with a meal, use it by itself. If you had something you didn't really agree with before you go to bed, chew a Probezyme. Trust me, you will have no gastric upset. It's one of the best things.
So I love it. We had Dr. Phil, Dr. Len, and then when our resident functional nutritionist, Alicia, and she did a great job looking at how she tests and evaluates clients. So let's hear some of the technologies that she uses. Someone came in yesterday and said, oh, I used to love when you did the AK, but I like the Zyto better. I go, really? Why? He said, well, I love working with Alicia, number one. Number two, the printout it gives me that's so detailed really helped me understand what was some of my underlying causes.
Yeah, we're visual, right? We need to see things a lot of the times. And, if you do a lot of kinesiology and muscle testing, once you leave here, you might not remember everything the practitioner said, if any of it. But when you have a printout of your results, that gives you something to fall back on. And that's one of the things that we do with both technologies, with the Zyto and the Oligo scan, you get a printout of your results.
So is Alicia taking on new clients?
Oh, absolutely.
Well,
she's back there now with somebody, but she's got time. So get in there and see her.
So how do they schedule an appointment?
Just give us a call, 412-922-9355. Or if you're here, go schedule one before you leave.
Oh, good advice, Joe. I have to remember that. So we had 3 great speakers yesterday and then 3 great speakers today. So we kicked off, of course, with our doc from the Pain Release Clinic. He's been
the
around
original,
that long.
The original, the
Dr.
OG.
Gideon Orbach, Dr. O, as we call him. And
the OG, G-O.
There you go. Oh, I know. He always, when he texts me, he says G-O. So, yeah, and he does a really unique technique, right?
Yeah.
He does a full body adjustment like Dr. Phil does. He's all manual manipulation, so he's not using any devices at all. Right. And he did get a new chiropractic bed, thank God.
Yeah.
It's much wider and it's got some cushion on it. The old one was
a little hard.
Yeah. But the thing I love with Dr. O, same thing as Dr. Phil, is each time it's a similar concept.
Yeah.
But it's never the same adjusting.
Never the same. But I learned something from his discussion today. Okay. He was up here and he was telling everybody how when he starts with someone, he sits them down and he goes behind and he puts his hands on their shoulders and just rests them there. And I'm thinking to myself, he does that to me every time. And I don't know why he does it.
He rests his hands?
I thought he's either resting his hands or he's thinking about what am I going to do to Joe? But no, he said he's gauging your breath. It's an actual technique to gauge how many breaths you take per minute. So, he's doing things you don't even know he's doing.
Yeah, I could tell because he'll work on an area, like say the IT bands, right? I'm like, how do you know to go right there? And I still ask him. He's like, you've been seeing me how many years?
Yeah.
I said, I have to know because I didn't tell you that hurt. I could just tell the way your hips were.
Yeah, and like you said earlier, when he has a patient, and you guys can watch this, he never walks in front of the patient to the room. He always walks behind so he can watch you. And he starts from that point.
So what were some of the formulations he highlighted today in his discussion? Because I know he's a big fan of Mag Complete.
Oh, yeah. Magnesium's number one. But his favorite is the Proline Greens.
Oh, well, there we go.
There it is.
That was the number one seller last year by Nutritional Frontiers and World of Wellness. It's currently sitting at number 2 behind GI Complete.
Yeah, they're going to run neck and neck, I think, all year.
So there's so many greens on the market. I hear AG1. I hear Doctor's Greens.
Yeah.
I hear all these different greens. Usually when I look at them, they don't quite have the profile ours does. So can you explain a little bit more what that means?
Yeah, the difference is this: you can have greens, with some antioxidants, you can have greens with some vitamins, but when you have therapeutic levels of patented research, trademarked ingredients in this greens drink, you take it to the next level. So it's no longer a fruit and vegetable drink. It's now a therapeutic drink. And the thing that we added to it that sets it aside, and there's not one other greens drink out there.
Let's hear it.
Not one. It's called Emotheon, and it is the best, most bioavailable form of glutathione on the market. It's patented, it's researched, and the studies are published. And this is it. Now glutathione. Why is that important, James?
Well, it is the master antioxidant in the liver and the body. You detoxify from every cell in the body, not just the liver.
Right.
And glutathione is often depleted.
Mostly.
Right? And we don't have the building blocks to have it at the higher levels. Plus, if you're exposed to excess chemicals, right? We know we all are, right? And those levels get depleted even more.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really important to restore those on a daily basis. Similar to hyaluronic acid, it was found to not absorb really well orally until we got the patented research trademark version of Modian. So what formulas do we have that in?
Well, we have it, and not just in the greens, but also in our Live Complete formula, which is the most comprehensive liver formula on the market.
So it's interesting. You look at the research on the Modian. What they did was, this is in animal studies, they depleted by toxin injection. They depleted glutathione levels down to 0. Then they want to see how much can they raise them. So generic glutathione did pretty good, 50%.
Not
right?
bad.
You look at NAC and acetylcysteine, up 66%. You know what the number was on the Imodian?
I do. 140%.
Wow.
Incredible.
Yeah, so 50, 66 to 140. So one is, can it raise glutathione levels? And the answer is?
Yes, it will. And not only will it do that, there's a second component. And that is, if you ever hear someone say they came back from their doctor and their liver enzymes are elevated, that's because it's overworking, probably from too much chemicals and prescription medications. But Emotheon also lowers liver enzymes. So it's a two-parter.
So they did the same study on the same group, and rather than just looking at the tissue levels, they looked at, well, what effect do we have on the liver function? So they're injected with the toxin. The one on NAC and regular glutathione went up over 5,000. The one on Imodian only 2,000. So more than twice as effective as those two ingredients. We see this ingredient in our Live Complete and our greens. And the nice thing is, if you wanted to ramp up to do a cleanse, you can always do 2 or 3 servings a day.
Yeah.
And then what about for daily maintenance?
It's easy. For daily maintenance, you can use either formula, the greens or the Live Complete. Just bring the dosage down, maybe one or two a day. Yeah. But it's something you should do on a regular basis because your liver works on a daily basis.
I like everyone to do the shake a day. Are you in the shake a day club?
Oh, all the time.
You're a Hall of Famer.
Cafe mocha, baby.
So the idea of the shake a day is it's food, and food's information. So if you eat a high sugar meal in the morning, or your first meal of the day, or a lot of processed carbs, what happens is your blood sugar goes up, insulin is elevated, and then what happens? Elevated fat storage. Then your blood sugar will start to come down, and how do you feel?
Well, you're going to feel sluggish, tired, and miserable.
Yeah, and what are you going to go after? Something to crank you up.
Yeah, you're going to look for some sugar, caffeine,
nicotine,
maybe all
sugar,
3.
Yeah. So you do that vicious cycle. Now your body becomes a fat storage machine. So the reason you want to give this shake is it gives your information to the cell that what's going to happen now? Blood sugar levels?
No, they're going to stabilize. They're going to come down
Insulin
and
levels?
Stabilize. Be
Same
normal,
thing.
stabilize.
And fat, we're going to store, we're going to burn.
Burn it.
And what about cravings?
What cravings? There won't be any more cravings.
The key to your health, folks, is to keep blood sugars in balance.
Oh, it sure is.
Right, and the best way to do that is with a shake in the morning. So I like Ultimate Shake with the greens and Live Complete. If you want to do a cleanse, you can increase those to 2 or 3 times a day. So Dr. Orbach had some great insight on cleansing and some of the foundational nutrients. Then, of course,
she was
Dr.
on fire.
Tracy Schraub today.
She was on fire. Yeah.
She zoomed all the way in from where? Tyrone?
Tyrone, out in the sticks.
That's way out there.
Yeah, 5 more miles and you're in hell.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Pretty close. Okay. It's only 5 miles away. I'm glad.
Yeah.
I think she's going to be happy you mentioned that. Yeah. Actually, the joke is, if you
She
want me to help
expects
you
it.
out, Joe's got
Yeah.
a heck of a delivery here. So I'll bail them out whenever necessary. Actually, Tracy, the directions get to her house is when you see the sign that says "End of the World, Next Exit," it's 10 miles away.
Yeah.
That's it. But she's a sweetheart. She's a brand ambassador for Nutritional Frontiers and World of Wellness. She's a great educator, naturopath. She does all the training actually for the naturopaths in the country.
Mm-hmm.
And she does an incredible program on Beyond the Blood Work.
Yeah, and she really was thorough, gave a great presentation of that, made it so everybody could understand it, right? You folks that were in here, right? She normally teaches this to doctors, but she did it for us here today, and I think everybody got a lot of information out of it.
Yeah, and why blood work? It's the
Oh,
foundation, right?
Absolutely. Everything is it. You deliver nutrients with your blood. Everything has to do with your blood, oxygen levels, strength, everything. So it's got to start there.
Yeah, and once you have the blood work done, you have a baseline. Does everyone get blood work done at least once a year? I got a couple hands. Get the blood work done. Because then what you want to do is you want to compare it against what? Your work from last year. And if you have a situation, you may need to get it done 3 or 6 months apart until things are back in order. However, she was citing some of the research that showed that the blood work variables in the ranges were all created, thank you, based on averages of what? Sick people.
Sick people, yes. This is why this course is so important, and you guys can all take this course. And Phil had put up the information for you to be able to do that. But you should, because she explained, when you get your blood work done, most doctors say, oh, you're in a normal range. Okay, see you, bye. Or, oh, you're not, take this drug. But she explains what to do with these ranges and how to get them not just normal, but optimal.
And more importantly, you can actually go to the link and submit your blood work, right, Phil? And you can get your blood work eval without even seeing her in person. So wouldn't that be cool, right?
Yeah.
So get your blood work. Make sure you get on the link. Do we have that for everyone, Phil? So we can share it with you today. Go to the link and submit it. And she'd be more than happy to give you a full recommendation based on where you are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Dr. Tracy, she's been here many times. I know a lot of you have seen her. She's our brand ambassador, one of our first and one of our best educators ever. So she's with us all year doing this for doctors all over the country.
Plus, does everyone have her book, Mommy Apothecary? It's not just for moms, it's really for a household.
Mm-hmm.
I love how she puts in the old, now we say they're old, right? Old home remedies. When I was a kid, right, we had black salve in the house. We always had aloe plant because we played outside, a lot of splinters, a lot of cuts, a lot of scrapes. And what would you do when you get cut or scraped?
Well, they'd probably slap some mercurochrome on it, right?
Yeah. First, your brother would say, don't tell mommy, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the mercurochrome, that orange liquid. I put
yeah.
that on everything. I was like a master of that. And I had a box of Band-Aids. That's all you needed.
That's all you needed, yep.
But the black salve to draw out any splinters or
bee stings.
Yeah. You know, we had the aloe plant, which was great, like on scrapes or burns or sunburns, right? What about if you got an earache back then?
Oh, an earache. You stuff a clove of garlic in there. That's
There you go. And your mom might grab your ear real hard. And, it didn't hurt as much anymore. But garlic and then hot oil. Right?
Yeah.
Put that with a cotton ball. So if you had a sprained ankle or your legs ached, you get in the tub with Epsom salt, right? So a lot of these home remedies got pushed out of the house. Doesn't mean they don't work.
That's right.
They're really inexpensive, safe, and effective. So I think her book, just for the home remedies alone, is worth it. And then she has all the different things you can do from an infant, pregnancy to an infant to a young child to a child that's maturing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is for full family. It's definitely a full family apothecary.
Well, it's some great speakers, and we saved the best for last. That's you, Joe.
Oh.
So you want to share with us your favorite testimonial this week?
Wow, this week. It's hard to pick them, but, we had somebody back here with a testimonial on the GI Complete. Right. Remember Dr. Len's favorite formula, but somebody, came in and said, this is something that has worked for me and nothing else has ever come close. Now, I also had somebody that asked about Parkinson's, and luckily we've had a lot of great success with Parkinson's. We have it from my aunt, who we started on the Parkinson's protocol 18 years ago, and she's even been a speaker here. If she walked in the room right now, after a 20-year diagnosis, you wouldn't know she had Parkinson's, and she's on this protocol. Then we have a video on our website of a tremendous video of somebody and us and how this protocol has helped stop the progression of Parkinson's. So that was a very interesting conversation. And anytime we can help somebody with something as debilitating as Parkinson's, right? Because it's just, quality of life.
I think what happens is, when I was younger, I would hear people say, oh, if I had a lot of money or enough money, I would be healthy, right?
Yeah.
And then Dr. Warner gave the examples of Mr. Rogers had plenty of money, and Bill Cowher's wife, right, passed away from breast cancer. So it's not how much money you have, folks. Right?
No.
It's doing the right things that
are
necessary, utilizing all the tools that you have at your disposal. There's a gentleman that came in today, and he had a clotting issue. I did put him on warfarin. It wasn't working. He put himself on Natacin Plus, only 2 per day, and there's numbers which they were at 1.7, they went up to 2.2, 2.4, now 2.8. They want between 2 and 3.
That was also one of the formulas Dr. Tracy talked about today.
Natacin Plus. That was one we've had for a while. We've updated the formula. We had another gentleman that had carotid clogging, right? So it was clogged, say 30%. And he did the math with the doctor. He says, all right, so maybe for a 10% benefit, I'm getting, a lot of risk, right? And he's a smoker. He went on 2 Natacin Plus per day, and he got about 30% improvement, enough that he can feel the difference, right? So got some really therapeutic formulations for some really unique and challenging cases.
Yeah, I have a friend of mine who called me a couple of weeks ago, and he's a big guy, athlete, works out all the time, but he has some issues. He had he wanted help with heart issues. He didn't tell me right away what happened, but he had an issue where he had to go into the hospital and they had to put a stent in. But, they gave him all the usual suspects. He put him on blood pressure, put him on cholesterol, put him on blood thinners. And now after all this, he feels terrible, right? I said, well, first of all, you need a product called EnterCoQ10 that has the 300 milligrams of CoQ10 and 300 of dimethylglycine. I said, just start there, and then we'll go from there. Well, he called me back the other day, and he said, well, I don't know what this is, but it sure is working. I feel better. I feel energy. I feel, more. I mean, what else can I do? And then we started on another formula. So but there's that reluctance to go away from the physicians and their prescriptions.
Well, we want to remind people we're not against medicine. We're against the over prescribed amount of medicines that could be controlled with lifestyle. All the AMA reports show that you should use lifestyle for at least 3 months before recommending a blood pressure or cholesterol drug. However, in the way the third-party reimbursement is, the docs don't have the time to talk to the patients.
No.
So they're jammed up. They're getting their reimbursement cuts. So they got to see more and more people. And the hook is you got to prescribe.
That's right.
So, you can utilize nutrients too to help really reduce the risk of some of the medications. And there's really 4. You mentioned CoQ10. So that'd be for all diabetic drugs, cardiovascular drugs, blood pressure, cholesterol, you name it. CoQ10 would be number 1.
Number 1, yes.
What about if they're on any kind of antibiotics?
Well, obviously they're going to deplete probiotics right off the bat. And just about everyone we see will deplete the number 1 mineral deficiency, magnesium, right? And B vitamins are right behind it.
So vitamins, minerals, CoQ10, and probiotic can really cut a lot of the side effects, probably 80, maybe 90%.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes 100. Because one of the biggest side effects of a cholesterol drug is it will deplete or reduce cholesterol, but it also reduces CoQ10. Why is that? They work on the same enzyme in the liver, HMG-CoA reductase. So that Co stands for CoQ10, cofactors. That's right. So when you reduce the cholesterol production by about 40 to 50%, think about that. If we shut half the power off in the building, could you guys tell? Oh, yeah. So oftentimes what happens is people go back and say, oh, I'm tired, I'm fatigued, like my dad did. And the guy says, well, you're getting old. He says, I'm only 6 months older than I was last time I was here. I don't feel as good. My legs ache. So I put them on the end of CoQ10. Lo and behold, in about a week or two, a lot of that was gone.
Yeah, because CoQ10 feeds the large muscles in the body and it gives them the energy to work. Now, what's the one muscle in your body that never stops working?
Well, mine's my brain.
No,
Second would be my heart. Yeah.
Yeah. But on most people, it's their heart. Okay.
Well,
yeah.
as my friend said, I'm not most people, Joe. So.
I know that.
But yeah, the heart, the brain, the liver, and all your skeletal muscle. That's where you store all your CoQ10. So you can see how if you deplete CoQ10 from the cholesterol drug, your muscles will ache and be fatigued. They're losing half their power.
That's right.
So if you're on medications, and sometimes they are necessary, we understand we want to use the lowest amount possible to get the best result. And if you are, take things like the Women's Complete and Men's Complete and the CoQ10 and the probiotics, right? You can do a bundle and take care of most of the nutritional deficiencies that are depleted due to medications.
And speaking of bundles and most prescribed medications, I think we have a testimonial for blood pressure in the audience.
We do?
Come on down.
Oh, look at Joe. She's not shy, Joe. She'll have to get right in the middle here.
I was lurking.
She does not.
I just was watching.
Yeah. So she does not need a microphone, but Joe, you can take it from here. I know you know the whole case story and case history. You tell a great story.
Well,
so.
when Christine came on board with us, we were talking, and she said, "Well, I'm on this particular med or this and this," and I said, "Not anymore. Okay, we're gonna get you off of those."
I believe it was losartan. Was that the blood pressure med?
20 milligrams of losartan.
Wow, 20 double dose, huh?
Yeah.
Blood pressure must have been high, Joe.
So yeah, well,
What do you expect?
So.
Yes, there's a little stress involved. There might be stress.
All right, so we just started with a very basic protocol.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, basic protocol. So what were you on, Christine?
I was taking 20 milligrams of losartan, and Joe harassed me to get off of medication, if we're being truthful.
I thought you were educated. That was harassment.
No, he was harassing
well,
me.
Hey, I remember Doc would harass people.
Shaming me.
Oh, good.
No, for a good reason. I now take our 7 flowers, which I take 6 in the morning and 6 at night. They're these tiny little micro pellets. If you've not seen
Anyone
them.
take 7 flowers before? Yeah.
I take,
double dosing, huh? 6 twice a day.
Mikey.
Oh, Mike.
And I take CoQ10. So sometimes I'll do the inner CoQ10 they were talking about. Sometimes just the CoQ10 by itself, and CircuCore. And those 3 products have stabilized my blood pressure to where it's the best it's ever been. I think I just had the blood pressure taken actually last week.
Music to my ears.
And it was totally normal. It was like 121 over.
And how much losartan are you taking?
None.
Wow, 0.0.
Yay,
Awesome.
I know. I'm on no medications.
It's incredible. So no medications for blood pressure. Doing a great job, and we're so excited for you. Thanks so much.
All right. Well, thanks, guys. Thanks, Joe.
These things work, folks, right? You know what? Someone asked us once, is there ever a time when it doesn't work? I said, yeah, when you don't take it.
No. And it's a supplement. So it supplements the lifestyle, right? So we want to continue having the events here. We appreciate all the support. Thanks, Joe, for organizing the whole weekend. Did a great job as always.
It was easy to get the speakers. They weren't shy.
Yeah, and I want to thank our infusion of new talent, the superstars at the front desk. We have Madeline. You want to say hi to everyone, Madeline? Hi. Courtney on the phones, and Ashton.
Where's Ashton?
I'll tell you what.
And she's the baker of all those delicious treats you were enjoying back there.
You know, these 3 young ladies jumped right in. First time they worked at Event Joe. And I tell you what, without a hiccup, they're on the phones. They're processing orders. They've done an incredible job because you may have noticed that some of the large companies have sold again. And their inventory is very difficult to get because they're selling direct to consumers and they're cutting out 200-300 products at a whack. So it's not that we don't want to bring those Douglas products in or Pure Encapsulation or Olympian or Meta. It's that the company has either discontinued them or they tell us they're on back order. So if there are products you want from other companies, we'd be more than happy to take the feedback, and as we're going to revamp the inventory for the spring season. And Joe's a big part of that. So thanks for all your patience. But young ladies did an awesome job. So
They're doing a
really
great job
excited
up
for them.
there. Yeah.
They also incorporated a Wellness Wednesday. You want to tell everyone about the Wellness Wednesday,
Wellness
Joe?
Wednesday. Well, we had our first one last week, I believe. And of course, the featured speaker, how the first one had to be none other than the GOAT himself, Mike Gallagher.
DMG, Dr.
Yeah,
Mike Gallagher.
Dr. Mike Gallagher. And that was a great success. Had a nice large room full of people, and they made margaritas and daiquiris, I think, that night too. Healthy
I was
ones.
working, so I wasn't
I was too. We were all somewhere else in the country. There it is.
Black Red
Raspberry
Velvet.
chocolate. Yes. Yeah. Yes.
So when we do
Big
these
event.
events, the only thing we ask is that you guys attend and bring somebody. I think a lot of people are still a little, we live in the UPMC world. They're a little bit gun shy. What's going on? They just haven't had the experience or education. So these are free events. You can come down. We'll feed you. We'll give you some good education, some free travel sizes that we have. And, it's a nice way to talk to other people. And I think that's probably the best part of these events is the camaraderie, the community, where you guys are talking to each other. So you get to have some more conviction that, hey, this may be able to really help me. Because for some people, it's still brand new.
And the goal is to do one of these in between the months of the wellness events. So, we have the wellness event this month. So next month, we'll have another Wellness Wednesday event.
And next month's a big month, April.
April.
What else is in April? April Fool's Day.
April Fool's Day, the best day of the year. Yeah, that's
you
the
having
rumor.
Another one?
That's the rumor.
How many have you had? Saved by the Bell.
Saved by the Bell.
Hey now. Enough, right?
Enough.
I said, Joe, last year, Joe, is this a big one? What'd you say?
Of course, they all are.
They're all big at this point. Well, thanks, folks, so much. We'll be here to 7:00 tonight, ladies? I thought we were on West Coast. All right, 4:00. Half day, banker's hours. No. We're going to have her come down. Come on down, Ashton. We're bragging about you and your team at the front. We have Heidi who helps out the events. Yeah, come on down here.
Hi, I'm Ashton.
This is Ashton Mickle, our new manager at the Wellness Center, a graduate of what school?
Slippery Rock University.
Oh,
the best
step
college
forward.
ever.
Yeah, there we go. The best school ever. We love the Rock, of course. So what was your major at Slippery Rock?
Healthcare administration and management.
And
Perfect.
Yeah, we love it. And you did your internship here and loved it so much you came back for more.
Right, exactly. I did. Yeah, it was a great experience.
And you graduated in December of last year. So we're talking about the wellness events and stuff. So maybe you can share some of the new things you guys are doing, like the Wellness Wednesdays.
Yeah, so we just had our first Wellness Wednesday on the 21st of last month. So it was great. We had Mike Gallagher giving a gut health talk. We had some free samples, some shakes, some goodies. So it was a really fun time. And it was a great time to kind of socialize with some of our patients and customers. So we're going to start doing that and implementing the other sales coming this year in events. So we hope to see all of you there.
What about your baking skills?
Oh, and my baking skills. Yes, I've started making some Rice Krispie treats and things with our Super Shake. So yeah, you'll have to grab some.
So those do have the Super Shake in it?
Yeah, yep. They have the peanut butter Super Shake.
So this is a nice way to cheat and eat, right?
Yep.
So that, a lot of times it's just replacing the source of it. Like grass-fed beef versus, store brand makes a big difference in your health. So you use a Super Shake and do you use coconut oil or what are some of the other things?
Yeah, so I made the Rice Krispie treats just with the marshmallow Rice Krispies and then 2 scoops of the Super Shake peanut butter. And then the top was an organic peanut butter spread with dark chocolate chips and coconut oil drizzled on top.
I like the drizzle.
Yes,
it's not overpowering and it's a little bit lighter for me. It is.
Oh yeah.
Beach season's right around the corner.
Exactly.
But it's a nice way to incorporate the Super Shake other than just a smoothie, which we love. So we have recipe books, right, available for people.
Yes, we do.
So you can go right on nutritionalfrontiers.com and get the recipe book out. We also have hard copies here. So nice, fun way to participate with getting those nutrients in, but rather than just doing a smoothie. So you made Rice Krispie treats plus.
Yes, and we also made some little protein balls. They're also in the recipe guide. They use the peanut butter Super Shake as well. Peanut butter, oats, honey, and coconut seed.
And those are non-bake, right? You just make them
You
and
just
put them in
roll
the
them up,
fridge?
and yeah.
Well, good. There's also some recipes in there for my favorite, pancakes. So you can make nice, healthy pancakes if you want those sometimes, and cookies and treats and those things too. I bet you if you bring those to a party, nobody would know,
No.
right?
Yeah.
And maybe they should know. I said it almost like we're hiding something good from them, right? Isn't that funny? Like, hey, there's no bad ingredients. Don't tell
Hey, guess
anybody,
what?
Joe.
These are healthy.
Yeah, don't tell anybody. I mean, the taste, right? People expect something
Yeah.
like to taste bad. What are your thoughts on the taste?
No, these are delicious. I haven't had a single thing out of the recipe book that was not delicious, and they're kid approved. Right? We've had them. We do with kids. We make pancakes for the kids and grandkids. They love them. So
Have
if
you guys all
haven't
tried them
these,
yet? Has everyone tried them
If you
today?
haven't, get back there
No?
before they're gone.
Uh-oh. Maybe I ate most of them. Got to get back there and share them. So
Yeah, we all
you're doing a
wanna
great
share.
job, Ashton. Thanks so much, and we
Thank
appreciate
you.
everything you guys
Yeah,
are doing.
of course.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Let's hear it for Ashton and the girls. All right, right on schedule, Joe. So thanks so much.
All right.
We are in
First one.
spring season already.
The weekend
So-
is here. We did it. This was our first wellness weekend. Went great. I loved it.
I really loved it. So again, the only thing we ask, if you like what we're doing, is bring a friend, bring a relative, bring a neighbor. Even someone you don't like, you can bring, right? It's okay.
Because then, maybe they'll like you after this.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, we want to really build this back up for the community. You know, those few years are behind us now, and now's a good time to get out, learn, share successes. And great thing, too, is all the healthcare professionals we have here that can really customize programs for you, as on the mission of
Making the world healthy, one person at a time,
Well-
up to 1 million, and then we'll start over.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Joe. Behind the scenes here, Phil doing an incredible job.
Yeah,
Let's hear it
baby.
for Phil. And of course, without you people, we would not be able to do these events. So thanks so much. Thanks for all support. Let's have a great rest of the day, and God